Before you even start jumping, there's things you have to do. You can put poles on the ground and you canter over those to practice striding. You have to consider like the distance between you and the jump and then change the horse's stride in regards to that. Lots of practice and riding without stirrups, which strengthens your legs but is painful to start out with. The horse definitely looks to you to tell it what to do. So like you use your leg and your hands and your seat, those are all cues for the horse to leave the ground. When I started jumping, it was all like fun and whatever because I didn't realize you could kind of get hurt. That didn't occur to me. So like once I realized you could get hurt, I started getting really nervous. I realized that not jumping was an option, like your horse can stop and not jump. So that's been like my biggest obstacle to overcome. Like I have to realize that the horse will jump if I tell it to jump. So as long as I'm thinking we're gonna get over this jump and that's the only thing that's gonna happen, the horse is gonna jump. But if I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, you're not gonna jump, you're not gonna jump, the horse isn't gonna leave the ground even if you tell it to because it knows you don't want it to. Before I go into the show ring, I'll take a minute, I'll like start deep breathing and then I'll picture myself doing the course properly. And that helps me to get the job done correctly. Lots of relaxation and positive thinking. Well, thank God right now everything's awesome, but starting in 7th grade, I started cutting, which is a form of self-injury, because I was dealing with depression, which I didn't know then because I didn't really know that existed. I just figured I was feeling unhappy. I didn't know the reasons I was feeling unhappy, and it was really troublesome because like I had such a perfect life. I had friends at school, I got great grades, like I had my horses, everything was going great, but I was constantly upset and I didn't know how to deal with it, so I cut, which to me fixed the problem, but only temporarily. At the end of 9th grade, I took a month off of school to go to a program that taught me a bunch of skill sets to not self-injure. I did not want to go to a therapist. I seriously thought I'd be sitting in a chair and they'd be like, so how does that make you feel? And it's just like, my friend can ask me how that makes me feel. Unless you're gonna give me some good advice to change that, I don't want to talk to you. And when I went for my initial consultation with the therapist I still see, he'd ask me questions and I'd be like, I don't know. And he'd be like, do you really not know? I'd be like, I don't know. And so like, it started to, I don't think it annoyed him, but finally he's like, okay, seriously, you know, stop saying I don't know, or this is completely pointless and like you're wasting your parents' time and money. And I started talking. It was just kind of like I needed him to be like, no BS, like obviously there's something wrong, so stop saying I don't know, because there is something wrong or else you wouldn't be here and you wouldn't be having the issues you're having. And like that was kind of an eye-opener. Well, I learned a bunch of skills there. My favorite is opposite to action emotion, which is when if you're feeling depressed, you go out and do something. So if all I want to do is lie in bed and sleep, I go out and hang out with my friends, or I go to the barn, or make myself dinner, or something somewhat active to get me out of like that state. Because even though all you want to do is something like tired and non-active, you can't do that because that'll keep you stuck in your depression. So there's opposite to action emotion. And then one that I found really helpful was just like riding out your emotion. So if I really, really wanted to cut, I just sat there and dealt with the feeling and realized that feeling's okay. It's gonna go away eventually. It's gonna be bad right now, but it's gonna get better. And like just realizing that that's okay to feel that way. Like there's nothing wrong with me feeling that way right now. And it will end, it's only temporary. It was really helpful. Distraction's another really good skill that they taught you. Like whether it's listening to music or picturing yourself at the beach, or like holding ice cubes, which is just like a different sensation to like change how you're feeling. All those stuff were really, really helpful. Not a lot of people can use horses to their advantage. So that was like something that I kind of took away from the program. Like if I wanted to use distraction, I could come here, or go brush my horses was like something really distracting. Well, I had a really, really great, well, I still have a really great psychologist who definitely like, well, helped my recovery, but also sparked my interest in psychology, because like he'd always teach me these different things, and I was like, oh, therapy's not just sitting in a chair talking to somebody, like you actually help them. And I never really thought that happened until I started getting helped, and like things started working, and I realized how good it felt to feel better, and I'd love to be part of that process and making somebody feel better and like changing their life, because there's no reason to like be stuck in depression or whatever you're feeling when there is help. And we need more people to like be helping teenagers, and that's what I want to do. I'm 19 right now. I go to Stonehill College, which is in Easton. I'm a psych major, which is awesome. It's my favorite thing. It's so interesting to think that like it could be brain chemistry, or it could be like different stresses in your life, and all that stuff could be changed to prevent it or to treat it. I want to be a psychologist, so I've got all of that work I have to do. But I'd also love to be a horse trainer here. That would be fun. I definitely like to help people overcome like the sports issues they have using a psychology background.